Hello everyone, so this is the next topic, that is inductor. So we have completed resistor, capacitor, and the next one is inductor. Okay, so let us see what does it mean, what do you mean by inductor. So it's a coil or an electromagnetic devices that opposes any change in the current. Okay, capacitor have a property to oppose any change in the voltage, and inductor has a property to oppose any change in the current. Okay, denoted by L. Now why denoted by L, why not by I? Because I is the denotation of the current. Okay, so this can create the confusion. That's why to indicate inductor, to denote inductor, we use L. Okay, the unit is Henry. The symbol, if you can see, it's like a coil, right? So there's a two, one is a fixed and other one is a variable. If you will see the arrow, it will become a variable. Okay, so this is basic thing about the inductor. And let us do next topic, types of inductor. Okay, so fixed inductor, variable inductor, then there's a air core inductor. Okay, and then there's again two types, iron core inductor, Farad core inductor. Okay, so what do you mean by core here? Core is nothing but it's a coil, right? So there will be one small rod, and above that rod there's copper wire is wounded. Okay, so if that core is made up of iron, it will be iron core. If the core is made up of Farad, it will be Farad core. Okay, and the next one is a variable. A variable is slug tune or tapped type of inductor. Okay, so these are the types of inductor. Just remember all this name. Okay, now let us see how to measure the value of the color code of the inductor. Okay, now just remember, it's very simple. It is again same like a resistor, how we have calculated the color code of resistor. The only difference is in the capacitor we multiplied by 10 raised to minus 12, and here we have to multiply by 10 raised to minus 6. Okay, that's the only difference, but rest of all everything is same. Okay, you can see the black, brown, red, orange, yellow, red. It's starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and till white we have a 9. Okay, so let us see how to calculate the value of the inductor using a color code. Okay, now I've taken here two examples. Suppose there's a blue, then gray, then gold, then silver. Okay, so blue have a number of 6, gray have a number of 8, right? So blue and gray 68. Okay, and the third one is always I told you that third one is a multiplier. So third one is a gold. So if the band is a gold, so what is the number of the gold? Multiply is 0.1. You can see in the chart. Okay, there's a 0.1, that is 10 raised to minus 1. So 68 into 10 raised to minus 1, that is 6.8. Okay, and I told you that the only difference is we have to multiply it by 10 raised to minus 6. Okay, so 6.8 into 10 raised to minus 6 means it is become a micro. Okay, so 6.8 microhenry is the value of the inductor if the band is blue, gray, and gold, right? And what does the last band shows? It always shows the tolerance. So tolerance is nothing but plus or minus 10%. Okay, so if you will see the chart, okay, silver have a 0.01 the tolerance is 10%. Yet you can see the last column of the chart, tolerance band. Okay, similarly silver, red, red, gold, brown. Actually, it's not. There's some mistake here. Silver, then red. Okay, it is a violet. Okay, so it is not a gold. It's a violet. Red, violet, brown, and gold. Okay, silver is the misprint. Silver is a misprint. So the red have a number of 2. Okay, violet have a number of 7, so that's a 27. And brown, okay, the third one is the multiplier. So if you see, the brown has a 10, right? So 10 raised to 1 means 10. Okay, so 10 raised to 1, so that is 27 into 10 raised to 1, that is 10. So 27 into 10 is 270. Okay, and what I have told you that we have to multiply it by 10 raised to minus 6. So 270 microhenry. Okay, and the gold, the tolerance of the gold is you can see the last column, plus or minus 5%. So the gold has a tolerance of plus or minus 5%. Okay, so 270 is a total value of the inductor if the inductor has the color band red, violet, brown and gold. Okay, so this is how you have to calculate the value of the inductor, okay, using the color code. So you all the three are the same: a resistor, inductor, capacitor. The chart is exactly the same. The only difference is for the capacitor we have to multiply it by 10 raised to minus 12, and for inductor we have to multiply it by 10 raised to minus 6. Rest everything is same. Okay, so let us see next the application of inductor. Okay, so again inductor is basically used for tuning circuit. Okay, for matching the frequency. Okay, so radio receiver, tune circuit, voltage filter. Okay, so in filter we use capacitor also and inductor also, right? Then TV receivers. Okay, so receivers also we use inductor and receivers, because receiver we have to receive the signal, so for that purpose we can change the value of by using inductor. Okay, LC resonant circuit, L is for inductor, C is for capacitor, so LC resonant circuit. Okay, then oscillators. Okay, so all these are the application of inductor. Okay, now let us do the next topic, that is voltage source and current source. Okay, so we have done the three things: resistor, inductors and capacitors, and we have seen the color codes, specifications and applications. Okay, now let us go to the next topic, that is voltage source and current source. Okay, now what do you mean by the source? Okay, a source is nothing but which provide electrical and which provide energy, right? Here the sources will provide electrical energy. So if electrical source is a device that is capable of converting non-electrical energy into the electrical energy, right? For example, if you have a battery, okay, what battery does it convert the chemical energy into an electrical energy. Okay, what does generator do? Okay, you have seen the generator, right? Which generate the electricity. What is the function of generator? It convert mechanical energy, right? Mechanical energy into electrical energy. So this is nothing but a source. Okay, there are two types of source. One is a current source and second one is a voltage source. Okay, so let us see what does it mean by voltage source and current source. Okay, let us see first the classification of sources. Okay, so source have basically of two types: voltage source and current source. Then in voltage source again we have two types: ideal voltage source and practical voltage source. In current source also we have two: ideal current source and practical current source. Okay, so here we will see what do you mean by ideal, how ideal voltage source should behave, and how practical voltage source should behave. Okay, similarly for current also. So basically here we will see the difference between ideal and practical. Okay, so let us first go with the voltage source. Okay, a voltage source is a two-terminal device whose voltage at any instant of time is constant. Okay, means the voltage of that source should never get changed. Okay, it should independent of the current from it, that is it should independent of the load. Means if the load is increasing or decreasing, it should not have any effect on the voltage source. Okay, it should provide, suppose the voltage source is giving the supply of suppose 100 volt, so that 100 volt should not get changed. Okay, it should not get, there should not be any fluctuation. It should always provide the constant supply of 100 volt. Okay, so when it will provide, so let us see the difference between ideal and current. Such a voltage is called the ideal voltage source, right? If it is independent of the current drawn from it, that is, it should supply the constant current throughout the phase, then it is known as the ideal voltage source. Okay, and it should have a zero internal resistance. But practically that is not possible, right? Practically an ideal voltage source cannot be operated. Why? Because the voltage source should also have some resistance. Why? Because everything is made up of a material, right? And materials have a resistance, right? Because resistance is the basic property of the material, right? So if a voltage source it means that voltage source should also have some resistance, and that resistance is nothing but the internal resistance. Okay, so that's why practically it is not possible to obtain the ideal voltage source. Right, so I hope you understand what do you mean by ideal voltage source and what do you mean by practical voltage source, right? So some sources have some amount of internal resistance, that and that type of sources are known as practical voltage source. Okay, so this is a simple symbol of the voltage source. You have seen all this symbol during the circuit in the circuit diagram. Okay, now see the circuit diagram and the characteristic of an ideal voltage. Okay, how the ideal volt should be there. Okay, if you will see that there is a one circle that represent the symbol of the voltage, right? Here you can see that circle, right? So it is a voltage, and between the terminal A and B, we are measuring the voltage, right? So that is the voltage between A and B. So in that case, since there is a no resistance, right, you cannot see any resistance because that line is nothing but a conductor. Okay, so there is a no internal resistance. That is why we can say that this is an ideal voltage source, because if there is a no resistance, there will be a no voltage drop, right? Because what does resistance do? It consumes the voltage. If there is a no resistance, who will consume the voltage? It means there will be not any drop in the voltage. It means that there will not be any decrement in the voltage, right? So you can see the characteristic. Since there is a no fluctuation, there is a no decrement, the line that ideal voltage, the voltage of that source is a constant, right? You can see the straight line parallel to the x-axis. Okay, so this is the ideal voltage source. But in a practical, right, voltage have some internal resistance, right? Small r means internal resistance, right? This is not external resistance which are giving by which are giving by us. Okay, it is an internal resistance means the resistance of that supply. Okay, so here what happen, if the voltage source have an internal resistance, right, there will be some drop in the voltage. That means voltage will get decreased, okay, as the time increases. Hence you can see in the diagram, in that graph, that the level of the voltage getting decreases. Okay, so this is the practical and ideal voltage source. Okay, now let us see the current source. What should ideal current source do, and what does practical current source do? Let's see. An ideal current source is a two-terminal circuit element which supply the same current to any load resistance connected across its terminal, right? So same, just like a voltage, it should provide a constant voltage irrespective of the load, or irrespective of anything that is a current. It should provide the constant current, right? Here also, ideal current source means it should provide the constant current irrespective of any load resistance connected across the terminal. Okay, the current supplied by the current source is independent of the voltage source. It has infinite resistance, right? But practically, a current source is represented as an ideal source connected with the resistance in parallel. Okay, so ideally it is not possible. So in a practical, what we do, we give the small resistance parallel to the current source. Okay, so this is a symbol of the current source. Okay, so since the current have a direction, current don't have any polarity, right? Voltage have a polarity, plus, minus, right? Current don't have any polarity. Current have a direction. That is why you can see in the symbol of the current there is an arrow. Okay, but in the symbol of the voltage you will see that there is a polarity, plus, minus, right? So this is the difference between voltage source and this is the difference between the symbol of the voltage source and current source. Okay, now let us see circuit diagram of and characteristic of an ideal current source. Okay, so how ideal current source should be. Okay, so right, you can see here that A and B are not connected, right? So that is, we can say that the infinite resistance between A and B, right? Because it is not connected, so resistance is very much. So in that case, current is flowing, right? There is not any problem. So we will get a constant current supply. Okay. circuit diagram and characteristic of a practical current source. Okay, so what we have done here, we have given the so resistance parallel to that voltage supply. Okay, so what will happen, since there is a between A and B, right, there is an infinite resistance, so current cannot flow, current cannot go through it, right, so current have to pass between that internal resistance, right. It means resistance will oppose the current, that is it will decrease the current. That is why in the characteristic we can see that the current is decreasing. Okay, current is decreasing as the time is increasing. So this is the difference between the practical voltage, practical current source and the ideal current source. Okay, so let's stop here, and the rest of the topic we'll do in the next lecture. Thank you.